I was asked about destiny swapping recently, and it's the two videos on my YouTube channel that has the most views. So I know it's a topic that is kind of upcoming because a lot of people are going through their awakening and they're starting to notice certain gaps in their life. I'll tell you what destiny swapping feels for me as of today. It feels like I had two lives, maybe more than that, but two big chapters. The previous chapter of my life was one where I seemingly had everything that society would deem appropriate for a young lady: the partner, the job, the traveling, the university, the experiences, the fam, all of it, right? The whole package. But it never quite felt like I was understood, I was seen, because I was not seeing who I was. I was slowly losing myself while I was part of a narrative that fit everybody else, but it fit them because I was supplying other people with my energy, with my ideas, with my love, and I never received it back in the way that it actually validated me for who I was versus what people wanted me to be. And now I have the other chapter of my life where I fully see who I am, and I'm unlocking more of who I am every single day. And the people around me, they're starting to see me for who I am as well, to validate me. There's real-time feedback. But I've lost everything that came with my previous chapter. All the links to my previous life. And it feels rewarding to be able to say I'm back to myself, to my purpose, to who I've always been destined to be. But there is a gap, and that is part of the destiny swap. You have to understand that destiny swapping is a highly spiritual thing. It's not originated from the earthly plane, it's originated from the spiritual plane. So the people that have been part of the plot against you, they're not necessarily aware. They're not necessarily here with all of their higher self psyche and all of their soul. They're more of the empty vessels that you can kind of tune into and use them as pawns in a game that is much larger than just our lifetime, as of the lifetime that we have as who we are. But one sure way you're gonna know you're dealing with the destiny swap is you seeing people with half of the talent that you have, half of the skills that you have, getting recognition for the same thing that you're doing. And you're starting to wonder, wait, that doesn't make sense. We started at the same time. I've mastered X, Y, and Z. This is somebody that's getting a lot of recognition for something that they're not even great at. What is happening? There are many examples of destiny swaps in society. One of my favorite examples is one of the most famous singers that we have today, Jennifer Lopez, who's been sampling other singers' songs. That in itself is a type of destiny swap because you're stealing other people's portion of success, essentially. Sure, you're paying them money, you're giving them something in return for energy, ideas that you're using to manifest your success, but that success is a lie because you're taking somebody else's talent and putting it to your name. So destiny swap in everyday life can be that. Your friends asking you for advice when it comes to relationships, when it comes to their job, career. For example, somebody says, well, can you write my CV for me? Can you write this message because I don't know how to start a conversation with this boy or this girl? Or can you write something for me that I can use to impress my boss? Can you do that for me? And it's all of those favors, slowly but surely attaching your energy to other people's blessings and success. And it's almost like they're using your talents, gifts, insights for them to unlock the path forward for them. It's based on a lie because they're not developing who they are. They're essentially relying on what the other people can provide for them and presenting that to impress society. And these doors are getting open for them and they're progressing with their life because everything is just being handed to them, right? I'm not saying these are bad people. I'm just saying that's how the game is being played. Whereas because you have principles or because you just want to focus on your journey, you're not really using the shortcuts, let's call them like that, the shortcuts in the game of life to benefit yourself, because most of all, you don't see a benefit in lying to people in order to progress. Another thing that happens when you're dealing with a destiny swap is essentially the world around you is a mirror to who you are. So when you're made of light, when you're made of pure light, you have a kind heart, you want to help people, your mirror should be people that are kind-hearted, people that are loving, people that, move in unison with you. When there is a destiny swap, usually the energy around shifts. So it's almost like you're this light, you're this person that is emanating light, but people are repelled by you because they're not seeing you for this light. They're seeing you for the shadows that surround you because of the feedback of other people, because of how other people have already given word about you before your arrival, or spiritually, they're already teamed up with others. Everyone's life is different. I'm not saying there is a formula for how you should live your life, but when you're dealing with a destiny swap, you're gonna feel like you're behind in life, and in some ways you will be behind in life because other people have benefited from having you in their vicinity. They have used your presence for them to unlock the path for them, which is the mentality that a lot of young people have: success at all costs, which is a mentality that their parents gave them, which was a mentality that their grandparents gave their parents, and so on. And it kind of ends with us when you think about preserving your integrity, your values, not doing something at the expense of hurting other people. What I'm talking about, people doing whatever it takes. Imagine, I just watched a movie where it was like, the message was, oh, you're gonna end up alone, you have to impress this person, this man with the money, you have to impress him, you have to impress that woman, you have to, make sure that your parents approve of the woman. All of these 3D based societal standards that were designed to brainwash us, designed to disempower us, designed to confuse us. A destiny swap takes you away from who you are. And when you find yourself on the other side, back to who you are, you're gonna feel like you've lost something. And what you've lost is a portion of your life. If people played with you through, spiritual warfare, the best way to put it, that's, there is a timeline from which to which, a time period where you can ascend in order for you to be of service, in order for you to accomplish certain goals. So people are the most vulnerable when they're young, because when they're young, they are more susceptible to the messages of society. So when you're on the other side of a destiny swap that has gone wrong, because you've awakened, you've ascended, you've reconnected to your higher self, to your purpose, to your inner child, all of it, you're gonna look back to those years where you were surrounded by situations, people, places, narratives that weren't a match to you, and you're gonna feel that loss. And what's worse, at the end of that period, you're gonna look back and you're gonna think, wow, I really have no one from these previous chapters, because they were never meant to come forward. If they appeared on my path while this was happening, they're not really attached to my calling, to my purpose, to my life of purpose. They were attached to my life where I was lost, where a part of me was lost. This is something that people don't talk about. And I would say I'm entering another aspect of the other side, of the recovery on the other side, which is you starting to retrospectively put things into perspective and understand how you can label them now that you've made it successfully on the other side. There's a lot that you've missed that you will have an opportunity to experience once again or for the first time. But it's okay to take a moment to grieve that which was lost in the avalanche that was trying to bury you along with your calling. It didn't. You're here. And the best is yet to come. How do you reverse a destiny swap? This was a comment under one of my most watched videos, which was about destiny swapping. I would say the best way To reverse a destiny swap is to continue living your life for yourself, meaning reconnecting with your higher self. A destiny swap is intended to do one thing and one thing only, to keep you disconnected from yourself, so that you are worshiping false mirrors, you're worshiping the people around you, you're supplying them with your energy, with your talents, with your gifts. The moment you reconnect with your higher self, it's game over. One of the most amazing things that happened in my life when I returned back home to myself after many years of aimlessly wandering and thinking, this must be it, right? This must be it, right? This must be it, right? I could never quite seem to get to a place where I just felt like I was aligned. There was always another transition happening. There was always another person that was full of false promises. Things just weren't quite right. I couldn't find peace. I kept traveling, I kept moving, I kept changing flats. 10 years, 10 different flats, multiple roommates, multiple jobs all around the world. I just couldn't find it, that middle spot, that middle ground, because it didn't exist for me. It wasn't meant to exist. I was meant to create it. But one of the most amazing things that happened when I returned back to myself is that I started unlocking these spiritual gifts that myself, my previous self, that wasn't fully ascended, aligned, awakened, if you wish, she did not have access to those gifts. And I feel like the people that I had around me during that time, it was almost like they were alerted, spiritually speaking, that I should have already received that. And because I didn't, they treated me in ways in which they were already prepared for me to have activated those gifts, but I hadn't activated them. I only activated my spiritual sight and everything that comes with, your spiritual gifts 2-3 years ago. So everyone that I met before that, it's almost like their higher self had given them the knowledge. When you meet her, she's already going to be ready. She's already going to have all of those things, and I didn't. So it was quite revealing to me to analyze certain relationships in my life where it's almost like people thought that I was lying to them by pretending to not be as ascended, as smart, spiritually smart, but I wasn't, in the sense that I was earthly smart because I loved reading books. I still do. I love psychology, philosophy, so I always had my way of channeling my higher self, but always to the point as to when it's needed, always regarding something that I needed to channel my potential to. Doing tarot readings, doing intuitive interpretations, channeling. This was something that I unlocked in the last few years, and this is entirely because I believed in myself and I broke free from the pack, from the people that wanted to keep me stuck. I chose to listen to the guidance from within. I chose to reconnect with my higher self, and I did a lot of risks, a lot of trust falls, and I trusted the universe because there was no one else that I could have trusted. And to some degree, there still isn't, because there are certain things that I'm processing that there isn't a person physically that I can share with. It's interesting. Let's call it like that. So the best way to reverse a destiny swap is really to keep going on your path forward and to trust your inner guidance. There are going to be people that come on your path. You're going to collaborate with them. Some people are going to be repelled by your energy. You're going to be repelled by other people's energy. You're going to see certain people receive a lot of recognition. You think to yourself, why is this person receiving that much recognition? You're going to see some people that are not acknowledged, the underdogs who are just like you. They're moving through a lot of storms and shifts. You can think to yourself, why is the world not paying more attention to this person? They're so extremely talented and beautiful, and they have all these gifts to give to the world. So you're going to see both. You're going to continue to move through the spectrum of life, and you're going to keep moving until you find your alignment, and you're going to stick to that alignment day after day after day after day, because once you are on the other side of a destiny swap, there is no going back to the people that were part of your past, unless They have gone through their transformation, their change of heart, their ascension season. And if you have been the one going through the motions, you're most likely going to be separated from a lot of people in order for you to complete certain activations with people who are already aligned with you. How to reverse the destiny swap? Know who you are. Always, unapologetically. And this is the kicker. I knew who I was. From when I was very young, I knew who I was. And that definition hasn't changed. I have changed in the sense that I have developed myself. I have channeled more of my potential. I have been very conscious about how to move forward and where I want to move forward. The goal has not shifted drastically. I knew I wanted to write since I was a teenager. I still know I want to write. I still know that my purpose is connected to writing and to using my words to heal and inspire the world and bring positive change. That hasn't changed. My optimism has not changed. It will not change, even if I have to go through certain storms and seasons and chapters of my life where the spiritual warfare is increased and I'm going through a little bit of depression, a little bit of sadness, a little bit of mental health turbulence. I am not giving up. And if you see me giving up, that's not me. That's a doppelganger, probably. That part of me hasn't changed. And this is probably one of the aspects that make me who I am personally. Strength, resilience. That has not changed since I was a child. Because I've gone through storms that only I know of. And storms that probably aren't as big on the outside to most people, but internally I've gone through a lot of years, not seasons, years where I've been on my own in the world. That hasn't shifted drastically. Even when I've been surrounded by people, I have a unique relationship with the divine, with my higher self, that brings me a lot of insights about the world, what's here, what's to come, what's happened, certain manipulations that have happened on earth. That knowledge is, I'm always connected to that knowledge. You call it source, you call it God, the divine, my higher self. That connection has only strengthened because of the trust that I've had in the unknown, in my higher self in the last few years. But this relationship has also made it difficult for me to have close relationships with people outside, because most people don't have the relationship that I have with the divine. Also, most people don't know how to be on their own. And in order for the divine to trust you with guidance, you have to make peace with walking alone, with shutting your mouth and allowing yourself to just receive and share it forward. One thing that has made a huge impression on me is the amount of jealousy that I have experienced on my path, and this has always baffled me because I do not understand the energy of jealousy that much. Mostly because I'm so focused on what's coming. I'm receiving a lot from the divine. I'm just focused on what needs to be done because I know exactly how much work I personally need to do, but also humanity. So the energy of jealousy has always brought to me this view that the person that is jealous, they're not as connected to themselves. They're not as connected to their higher self. It doesn't matter if they call themselves the most enlightened human being. The frequency of jealousy is a very unique one. You feel it. You feel the person that is in the vicinity kind of observing you. And the more you develop your own spiritual side, you're going to feel them. You're going to see them. You're going to close your eyes. You're going to see who's watching you. You're going to see the jealousy. You're going to feel it. It's almost going to be this energy of somebody who is so obsessed with your path, with who you are. It's not even, they can't even see you properly. They see your spirit. They're so obsessed with your spirit. They almost want to destroy you because of that. Because they want to wear your skin. But really, they want to wear your spirit. That is the one thing that I don't think I've understood it. I don't think I'll ever understand it. I think the solution is always keep walking your path, and your spirit team is gonna make sure that these energies just go away on their own. There's a certain amount of sadness that is attached to the realization that you've been targeted from the day you were born. The destiny swap targeting, which has always meant to do one thing: distract you from who you are. Take you away from who you are, from your spirit, from your soul, from your higher calling, from your purpose, from your essence. There is a sadness that this has been placed onto your life in the same way that your calling has been placed onto your life. There is a reason the most anointed souls on earth, as they say, are the most targeted, because these are souls that are genuinely just pure light, pure love. These are souls that want to give, and they don't care how they give, in the sense that my path is that of being an advocate, of a disruptor, and sometimes I will go against the crowd. I will go against the commonly held beliefs, which makes me a little bit of the black sheep. Sometimes I would challenge people and they would misinterpret it as if I don't love them, I don't support them. But in order for you to be able to deliver the truth and challenge certain beliefs, because it's what's right, because it's what the divine is guiding you to do, you have to be that. You have to have the courage to do that. And that brings you closer to this state of love, because you are willing to say the things, to do the things that not many people are willing to do. You're willing to take off the glasses and see the truth for what it is. But because you're brave enough to take off the glasses, the illusion, you also know where the light is, and you can guide people to the light, which is not to say that we want to whitewash the whole experience of being human. A lot of people are falsely interpreting your ascension, your enlightenment as just love and light. That is BS. Your spiritual awakening is about seeing the truth for what it is and being honest with people and speaking the truth no matter what, doing what's right, even if it's the most difficult thing to do. Who else is going to do it? If you've been obstructed so much, if you've been targeted so much, who else is going to do it? You've got the calling. You have to honor that calling and walk the path that your higher self chose for you, or perhaps the divine chose for you from the moment you were born onto the human plane as the person you are today. I talk about manifestations, but it's not the heart of what I talk about. I talk about purpose. And I'm well aware that there are tools that you can use to interpret a little bit about your purpose, to give you guidance about your purpose, like astrology, numerology, things that I've used to return back to myself, tools that I'm using to help other people, your human design, the gene keys. There are probably more tools that you can use. But I also understand that I cannot be an interpreter of your own higher self on a permanent basis. Only you can speak to your higher self. Only you can hear the divine regarding things that you must accomplish as yourself, which is where we want to bring people back to themselves. I am on a spiritual calling. I am assuming the role of a spiritual mentor, coach, advisor, teacher, but I understand that my role is not to get you addicted or attached to me so that I can siphon your energy. The only thing that I'm here to do is to remind you to return back to yourself. And that is really the ultimate antidote to moving beyond any destiny swap, any alterations upon your life that have tried to keep you in lower timelines where you are not able to achieve your full potential, where you're not able to ascend to a level where you can activate your spiritual gifts. I activated my spiritual gifts a few years ago. And I remember I was in a relationship that started about 10 years ago and lasted about 5 years ago. And I remember in that relationship, I kept thinking, I'm losing myself. And by the end of that relationship, I didn't even know who I was anymore. I still knew I wanted to pursue happiness. I still knew I wanted to make the world a better place, but I was so depleted. I stopped hearing the voice of the divine. I stopped hearing my own inner voice. I was just interrupted, so I'm not even sure where I ended the last section of the video, but a destiny swap is a tricky thing. Essentially, the first phases for you to realize something's not quite right. I need to change something about my life. I need to stop caring about what other people think, because they're the ones that have been keeping me trapped. And I'm not just saying, the conditioning that happens in society. Destiny swap is something that is your soul being targeted. It's not even you as in you, the human. Your soul, your spirit is being targeted. And I've had a lot of questions in the last few years for my spirit team, for God, for the divine. Why do you have me deliver your messages through means like tarot? Because even tarot is being judged. It's being seen as witchcraft, and it's being seen as, something that keeps you away from your divine self, which, in itself is something that we've been conditioned to believe that is bad. So there's a lot of healing that happens. The feminine healing, the divine feminine healing, your inner child healing. This whole journey, once you realize that you've had the destiny swap, once you realize that you are making a return back to yourself, once you return back to yourself, this whole journey becomes about you downloading blueprints, you downloading information about the heritage, your ancestral heritage. And it's a very sacred journey. You might experience anger, you might experience disappointment, sorrow, breakdowns. I remember I had the biggest breakdown, which was a big burnout episode when I was trying to have my 3D life and my 5D life, so to speak. But around the same time, I started realizing certain things about friends of the past and how I was not really being kind to myself by staying in certain relationships, that some people were fake, some people did not have the best intentions for me, and that hurt even more than just me pushing myself endlessly to deliver on projects and send emails. And this is probably one of the heartbreaking things about going through your destiny swap, going through your awakening, your ascension, is that there is no one to hold you. There's no one that you can turn to. And that is one of the ways that, this whole experience is designed to break your spirit further. That you realize you're fully alone into the world, but you're not. You have your higher self, you have your inner child, you have your spirit team, you have so many souls on earth that are ready to work with you, collaborate with you, share some of the seasons forward with you, even if they cannot stay forever, just like you can't. Learning to self-validate, learning to self-heal, it's going to be a huge benefit, and it's going to take some time, especially if you're breaking free from huge codependency cycles. If you're the one that has more awareness, you're going to have to face energies that are a little bit more codependent, which in itself is going to be a bit of a challenge. But when you've had a taste of what it means to live in alignment with who you are, when you've had a taste of what it means to be truly authentic and truly reclaim yourself, you're never going to be tempted to go back to abandoning yourself just so that you can fit in, abandoning yourself just so that you can have some breadcrumbs of love, when you are made of the divine love, when the divine love is flowing through you. You're going to face more disappointment, so let's be honest. And I think some of the disappointment that you're going to face is you understanding that these are huge cycles that you're entering. You're part of huge societal cycles, generational cycles, and some of them are quite sad. You're going to realize that so many lives have been lost because of this conditioning, and that you probably don't even have it as bad as some of your ancestors. And that in itself is going to be a healing experience, because you're going to become that glue that makes way. You're going to be the one that unites beliefs, that alchemizes certain things, and paves the way. You're going to become a wayshower, which is a title that you should honor, because it's a title that you've earned through surviving and thriving during your destiny swapping attempt.